Hello, everyone. ACGC 11th grade class of 2020 Socratic discussion reflection on English 3. Start off with our first question. What do you guys feel is the significance of literature and American literature in particular?
I'll start. I felt like I learned that I could expand my knowledge in many different types of we did many different types of writings, and we also looked at many different types of stories. KJ?
I basically said the same thing, except I said I think the significance of literature is learning and expanding the common mind of thinking. So basically the same thing what you did. Kate, you?
I agree with both of your ideas, but I put that we as Americans are able to take pride in our country by reading and using the literature, and it helps us realize in depth and detail what Americans have faced throughout history and how it has shaped our lives in today's society.
I agree with you, Kate, and I believe that American literature is still relevant today in the style they use. Like in class when we did poems by Carl Sandburg and Jimmy Santiago for ours.
I agree with what Emily said, that literature is you can experience a lot through those types of things, but I also think it evokes a certain feeling in people that inspires change or reform or things like that.
Having evidence.
Like in our types when we went to all those rallies and peaceful versus non-peaceful protests. Kendra, what do you think?
I think that literature is the way some people express their feelings, like in the poems Emily mentioned.
Ghost?
I put how they can view different things and express how they write, because different people write different things and use different styles of writing.
Would you like to share some of your evidence?
Mark Twain might write different than other
These are all great thoughts. I also think it helps show American history and regional cultures and American culture throughout history, just by how the authors write and the language they speak with.
Do we have any counterclaims?
No. Moving on. How do you feel you grew in your reading skills?
I would say I felt as if my reading skills grew. The reason I would say this is because I read more books than I usually do, and a lot more funky different books, like writing and stuff.
Funky as in?
Different writing skills.
That's an example.
Like poetry, like the way it's written. It's more descriptive and stuff.
So would you say you're more of a poem guy now?
Yeah, I'm a big poem guy. Big poem guy. What would you say, Bryce?
I say this helped me read more effectively, and I also enjoy reading now for personal development.
I agree with that statement because before this class I didn't really like reading, but now I actually enjoy it. Kendra, what are your thoughts?
I think I grew in reading, but I still don't enjoy it very much. I don't know.
I feel that from reading so much, especially in the beginning of class, I'm more inclined to notice specific parts, like plot and theme of the book, instead of just reading it for enjoyment, actually picking out the parts.
I agree with you. I liked the 10 minutes of free read time, but it helped me grow in the styles.
I agree with Emily, because that 10 minutes really helped me, and I enjoy reading a lot more and was able to comprehend books a lot. So,
I agree with Austin, because just getting that 10 minutes to read makes me get more involved in books.
So how did you guys like the 30 minutes reading? Was that yours better?
I read a memoir, and from this class I found out that I really liked those, so I thought that was better.
I agree with that statement because it gives us more time to actually focus, and sometimes it's hard to get focused in just 10 minutes worth of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because you're more likely to get into the story with 30 minutes than 10 minutes. It takes me longer to get into the story.
So how do you guys feel you grew in your writing and language skills?
I feel like my writing grew. I would say this because I'm starting to use more words and starting to correct myself more and more. Like when I read over my stuff, I can see that my writing is getting better, and I don't know, I can just fix it, correct myself better.
I think that writing helps me in ways other than this class, such as my online class, because I had to do a lot of research papers and stuff, and so it helps me like correct my mistakes and figure out what I was doing wrong.
I agree with you, Kate, because when she helped teach us the MLA format, that helped me in this class and other classes for research essays.
For me, it was hard to like get my ideas on paper. So brainstorming for me has really improved my writing, and this class has gotten easier for me.
Going off what Bryce said, brainstorming, I feel like I can write a paper in a short amount of time now and make it good, whereas before I would have to take like a whole day just to write a single paper.
Q, you like to
Elaborate.
I feel like I grew in writing. Like I could use more like evidence, like just improve like on the writing, make sure everything was correct. Dubs.
I kind of feel the same way as Taylor did, like brainstorming. It helps me write papers easier because then I already have my ideas down. So,
I feel like I grew in writing and language skills because of the various texts. Like we had to write our essays about different and specific topics.
So Dubs, how do you feel you grew in your speaking and listening skills?
well, through like Socratic discussions and stuff, I grew more confident and able to like discuss things and argue with people.
So, oh, you Q, what do you think?
Socratic discussion was a big part, and it helped me develop a different way to speak and to listen to other people's opinion and or point of view. KJ?
I would say my speaking stay the same. I've always been like a good speaker. I don't know. I'm just a really good speaker, I'd say. What would you say, Brent?
Well, I'd say I agree with Q that I'm better at listening to a lot of different opinions and having an open mind in a conversation rather than only thinking what I believe is right.
I agree with that statement because I was always scared of disagreeing with someone or having someone disagree with me, but now I know that there's civil ways to talk about things that we may disagree about.
I agree with KQ and Bryce on that, and like everyone can remember our first Socratic discussion was super awkward, and now like we all just flow with each other's ideas, and even if you don't agree, you can say your idea without hurting other person's feelings and getting your point across still.
Respectfully.
I think that the Socratic discussions were important and they helped us speak with each other, but I think book shares also helped because that gave everyone a chance to say a little bit and reflect on what everyone said about their book.
Kendra, once again, would you like to share your opinion?
Inquisitively share your opinion.
I agree with those five about the Socratic discussion, and I also agree with Emily about the book reading share.
So, kind of building off that topic, the next question is how do you feel you grew in your thinking and learning skills and attitudes?
I would say my thinking grew tremendously. I say this because I usually think of the basic stuff, but now I've grown to thinking outside of the box.
I would agree with that statement, and I just knowing I could expand my knowledge on things like you didn't really know, and just learning about new topics.
What were some of the readings or activities or assignments that gave you those opportunities? What was most productive for you?
I would say like the brainstorming for papers and stuff like that. Like when you're starting to write your papers, the outlines and the brainstorming. I would say that what helped me.
The outlines really helped. It just help the paper just flow better, easier to write.
I think before even writing the papers, reading all the diverse like poetry and then a short story and then something about nature and something about like person and human condition, that helped us write the papers in the end because we have a wider variety of information to go off of.
I agree with that statement because it would have been very difficult to think of different concepts to add to our pieces of writing without a lot of stories to choose from.
For me, this class changed my attitude toward reading older texts. I thought they were irrelevant and outdated before, but now I see those styles are the foundation of our literature today.
That's a unique thought. Kendra, what do you think?
I think my thinking and learning grew, and I don't think my attitude grew.
Oops.
I feel like my attitudes kind of changed over the semester. I feel like I was like ranking towards it at first, and then I just kind of made it through.
What do you just change your attitude toward class?
Kind of just said instead of making like getting through the day, just kind of yes.
One thing that has helped my learning skills, or I've improved on, is time management. Because I'd say I'm not the very fastest writer in the room. So when we'd get like 10, 15 minutes to write our paper, I was like, so that's really helped me. Thank you, Mrs. Hardwick.
Do we have any counterclaims?
I don't really know if there'd be any counterclaims.
There's no
It's what we
counterclaims.
learned.
The
Counterclaims might, in
other
this
people's opinions.
context,
No,
might
just-
just be who would argue
Think of it.
against what you are
Jesus
saying,
Christ.
or what is
Try
a
to keep
different
this thing going.
point of view.
Never know.
Oh, a machine here, boys. You're trying to-
How about that well-oiled machine that you just talked about? All of the different helps, or what a teacher would call scaffolding, that you were provided, the graphic organizers, things like that. Do those types of things help? Were they useful to you? Were you thinking about them?
The graphic organizers that we get, like,
All of the different things that we have all the way around that we
around
always
the
have as
room?
part of certain activities. Were those helpful to you? Do you see
Yeah.
those types of strategies as being
I would say,
strategies or activities that you should always look for in your learning?
yeah, I would say that they were helpful because then you can just look around the room, and if you're like stuck on something, you look around and you can brainstorm. It'd help you think of some ideas just by just looking around. Just it opens up your mind.
I think the papers, the connecting statements were very helpful at the beginning, but now we kind of all just use them.
Okay.
Do you have anything to say, Bryce?
That raft over there really helped me remember what I need to focus on when I'm writing. Like, what's my role? Who am I writing to? What format am I using? What am I talking about? That really helped. So I didn't get off course. What do you think, KJ, about the raft?
I would say, yeah, the raft was very helpful because you go through each steps of your paper, make sure you have everything. So it's not just like a scrambled paper with random nonsense on there. You can see your role, your audience, and your format and topic, and then you just execute it. And then,
Do your job.
do you have anything to say about the raft?
Wrap. I think the wrap was helpful, but I also think the bead thing, I don't remember what that's called, but when we highlighted things in blue, yellow, green, and pink, that helped make sure my paper has transition words because it's something I forget a lot.
I agree with that statement because I used it to make sure my paper had details because that's something I forget.
With that, it's easy to avoid repetition if you like setting everything out and you know if you're repeating yourself, and then you can take that part out if it's not necessary.
Kendra, do you have any thoughts?
I agree with that statement. I like more of like the outline, like the repetition. So the outline, you're not repeating yourself more and more.
All right.
Big takeaways?
Our takeaways.
This class has helped us all grow in a multitude of ways, and I don't think any of us should think any differently about that.
That makes the teacher happy. My goal, though, would be for you to make sure that once you walk outside of this class, that you don't stop using those strategies, and that you don't stop thinking about your learning constantly. Or just a minute, do what we always do. Let's review. Okay, outside circle. What did the inside circle do well in this Socratic discussion? Okay, so expressing themselves. Okay, good. Okay. In what ways? What was good about the way they communicated? Yes. Yeah.
They each made sure everyone had an opportunity to say what they wanted to say.
Good. Valuing everyone's opinion. What else was good about the inside circle?
They were asking questions that were like outside of
Yeah, right. That's the wonderful part about continuing to do Socratic discussions. You get so much more comfortable and are able to practice and carry on the conversation without thinking, oh, what should I do? How is the right way to do this? It just happens more naturally the more you communicate in that way. And so my goal for you is to not stop communicating in this way, but continue using these in your everyday intelligent conversations that you have outside of this classroom, in other classrooms, with at the dinner table, when you're out with friends and you start talking about it. And it doesn't have to be politics that you're talking about. It can be something that's just normal, that is complex, that you want to talk about and grow into a deeper understanding of and discuss in a civil way.
LeBron
Good.
James or Michael Jordan.
Yes. You've got to do that civilly, right? Okay, things that the outside circle knows you're going to try to improve on. What are some things that we might be able to improve on?
We are perfect.
How about content? What are some different content ideas? Because this is a little bit different discussion since it's more of your own personal learning versus a shared text. You've got a shared learning experience that you're talking about, but can you bring up what can you discuss more of, do you think, the outside circle in our literature class? Thank you for asking that clarifying question. When you are on the inside, talking about the already prepared questions, what content can you add specifically that will deepen the conversation? What types of things can you discuss?
Maybe specifics of what helps you learn.
Okay,
Maybe-
specifics.
Or maybe a variety of topics, so maybe it's something not really pertaining to something.
or compared to like what you struggle with.
Right.
Over there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, personal experiences, specific texts, specific activities. Yeah, use those specifics. Good, wonderful. Okay, quickly and quietly, change spots.
This ends the third and final Socratic discussion. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Before we can smash that like button. Takes 2 seconds of your day. 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds.
Hit that bell button. So you
Turn on
can be
the
the first one to watch my
subscribe.
video.
Hit the notification. Wait, I didn't see that first one to watch.
Jacqueline, where's your chair? There wasn't a chair.
It's recording.
It's recording.
All good thoughts. Positive. I'm gonna attack you with questions. I'm gonna attack you with my opinion. Let's have a political talk right here. I want to see it. I honestly, I hate talking about politics.
So that government shutdown.
Isn't it the 20th day or something of government shutdown?
Ever? Yeah.
Are we ready?
Sure.
Okay, so let's start our last Socratic discussion of this quarter, and with the question: what do you feel is the significance of literature and American literature in particular? Anyone would like to start?
I feel that literature is very important in like our everyday lives because it connects like all of us, like us individuals, with the larger truths and ideas that people have like for society, and it creates a way for people to like record their thoughts and experiences in a way that other people can access them through fictionalized accounts of experiences.
I agree with that, and for American literature, America has been a melting pot for so many cultures, and the writing really has shown that. Like with the Jumping Frog of Calaveras County by Mark Twain, there was no real literature like that anywhere else in the world, and it's really a unique place for everyone to express themselves, whether humorous or other categories.
Do you think America being a melting pot of cultures kind of drifts away from specifically like American literature or no?
Well, I think that it's what makes America is a melting pot. It is what everyone makes it to be. So it's that uniqueness that everyone comes together to
That
be.
diversity.
Yes. Very good way.
I like Emma's idea about connection. That's kind of how I took it too, because literature kind of helps connect people in a way, and not just by feelings, but I thought more of like the world. I mean, we read literature from people around the world, and we get to see their point of view, and it kind of helps us grow a little. Like if we read about someone over here or someone over there, we kind of evolve as humans and throughout like generations. That's what we've been doing.
I agree with Jackie. I thought it shows so many views of people throughout America and the world, and shows their feelings and thoughts.
I agree with Jacqueline and Caleb because they're similar to what I said. And studying literature has helped me to understand social situations, history, and various cultures. I feel it's important for everyone to develop these skills in order to identify the various aspects of literature. I feel that the importance is not only for students but everyone in the world to develop skills pertaining to the identification of the different aspects of literature due to their relevance still.
So Maureen, do you think you'd agree with what we say, or do you have something else to add?
I agree with you. Going off of yours, I think literature is significant because it helps develop practical standpoints further. Because we just, like you said, we get ideas from everyone. I think that's very important.
I agree with you guys. I think it allows people to connect with each other.
So connection is a big point here that we all agree on.
Absolutely. Does anyone have anything else to add?
I had I guess it wasn't a counterclaim, but it was kind of just like other information. I think that like along with learning how to identify and understanding certain situations, you can never really know the whole story. So there's quite a bit of bias when discussing these different topics. So you never really know what the whole truth is. Especially when we were talking about like politics in the very beginning. Like we kind of got a little bit into politics. Like with, I think that I wrote a paper over like the war or something like that. So it's kind of hard.
How does that, how does that connect to Morgan's idea of ethical standpoints? Is that what you mentioned?
Like what I was thinking was kind of like that. Like when people read something, you know, their thought process is different from someone else's thought process. So when they read it, they may think of, you know, they might have a different way of thinking about what they just read and summarizing it opposed to like the way I would read it. So different opinions form because people have different thought processes. So we may not, you know, well, is this actually what the author was applying? Well, you know, it seems right, so I'm just going to go with it because that's the way I feel it as I read it. That's what it seems to me. So I feel like based on your views and your opinions, you're going to read something and interpret it in the way that you know, your thought process works based off of like your beliefs and what you know.
Let's move on to the next question. How do you feel you grew in your reading skills? Well, I feel for the most part that I stayed the same, but what did help me was the variety of reading topics that I've read here that were assigned to me, but I wouldn't have read otherwise. And so poems were a struggle for me, but it's interesting to read about them and see what content they had, and it's just something I wouldn't have read otherwise. And I think that's part of growing and learning.
I agree with Nathan. I might even say like perhaps my reading skills have gone down, but I don't think that's like the class or anyone to blame. I think that's just our personal, feelings and stuff. So
I feel that my own personal reading skills increased and are much better now that I can analyze the conflict, plot, theme, all of those certain type of things.
I agree with that because whereas before, when I was reading a book, I never really thought about that stuff. I never really thought about, oh, this is the plot. This is, I just read a book to read it. Now, I'm actually read it to get into it and to analyze what I'm reading so I understand. Because that's what I did with our end of the semester book. I actually was able, we were assigned to actually analyze it and stuff, but it helped me because the other book that I'm reading, I actually am able to analyze what's going on, and it really helps when you sit down and you actually practice analyzing and stuff.
I also agree with everything that's been said so far. I would say that for the most part, my growth was being able to identify themes, expressing reasoning. Like when we were reading our end of semester book, I found that it was easy for me to identify the main theme of the book and give solid evidence and reasoning in my literary analysis. So I found the literary analysis beneficial.
I believe that I have grown a lot actually, because I'm one of those people who will not pick up a book just to read. I didn't enjoy reading. I still don't think I truly enjoy reading, but I have a more deeper, open mind about it. Because, when we had to read our end of semester book, I wasn't too happy about it. But then, I kind of needed that push to start reading it, and so that kind of helped me.
How about you, Emily?
I agree with what Nathan said. I think my reading skills grew, but before I wouldn't have read the things I would read now.
Does anybody else have anything to add?
For the it's not a counterclaim again, but it's just something to add. I feel that I could better improve in reading more of a variety of texts, as well as taking more time to sit down and enjoy a book, because, like Jacqueline said, I don't just read for fun. It's just not something that I've ever done. But I guess I could appreciate it more because it's there, and it'll always be there.
And some of it's taking the time out of our busy schedules to, if you want to read, you have to read a book. By doing that, it does help our learning and education. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. How do you feel you grew in your writing and language skills?
I feel like my writing and language matured over the course of the semester due to the variety of texts that were required, like poems, essays, literary analysis, personal narrative, and informative essays. I learned how to reason and write text with specific information rather than just stating why I thought it was right.
I agree with Mia. And going off of the evidence, I think I've matured definitely in finding good evidence and incorporating it into my writings.
I agree with both of you because I feel like my writing has become more effective. I feel as if I'm more creative and can utilize my outline, because as before, I never would use an outline. I always would just start my rough draft because I never wanted to do an outline. But now I realize actually using an outline, that really helps bring your thoughts and your ideas together. And it's just in the literacy journal, that really helped me throughout the course of this semester. Was you had different writing prompts, and each of those writing prompts helped me in some way to become more creative and use my time wisely to brainstorm and use my outline. It's made it easier for me to become a better writer.
I agree.
The outlines have helped a lot. I would never use them. I would always just start off at the beginning, and then it would be a mess. And like when you use an outline, it really brings everything together to one point, and it's a good thing to use.
I agree with Sally. I think the outlines really helped, and I agree that the peer reviews helped because some people can show you what you're messing up on and what you can.
Yeah, I kind of said the same thing as Caleb. I thought the outlines were helpful, but the peer reviews was something that I really appreciated from this class. I mean, it helps getting a fresh set of eyes on your paper, not just your opinions, your ideas,
That's very true. I feel like all of those copious writing assignments the teacher has so lovingly given us have really helped us to grow in our knowledge and also writing and editing. And for me, it was making a proper thesis and introduction, keeping that cohesion all through the paper. And with all the assignments, it has helped me improve.
Smooth diction.
Going off of what kind of Nathan said, I really do appreciate Mrs. Hartwick's feedback. I mean, like before this, I turned in a paper, never got not knowing what I could improve on. I just saw the grade, and I kind of wished I could have seen what I could have done better. And her feedback, having you kind of give me what to work on next, kind of really helped a lot.
Giving that nudge, yeah, it really helps.
I agree with what Jacqueline said. I think the peer reviews really helped me because it was able to show me what I needed to fix and improve on in my writing.
Does anyone else think the literacy journal really helped throughout the year? Did you enjoy writing all those prompts?
Some of the assignments, yes, I really did enjoy. Others, I didn't enjoy so much. But it was those ones that I usually didn't enjoy that I think helped me the most because I probably wouldn't have done them otherwise. So.
I agree.
I won't say the literacy journal helped me much, but the activities we did before we started writing really helped. Just to organize our thoughts and find evidence.
Right, the brainstorming ones were more were timed and stuff. That helped me too.
How do you feel you grew in your speaking and listening skills?
I feel like I grew more confident in speaking and more open to listening to other people's reasonings. And when I found this when I was sharing papers and comparing them to others, I could see myself making the connection, making it easier to relate to their ideas, as well as alter my perspective to see their side of things. Especially when we were sharing our semester reading log with our groups, I found it easier to relate with compared.
I feel that the Socratic discussions helped me overcome the fear of public speaking. It's because honestly, I've been more of a listener than a talker when it comes to a conversation. But this has given me an opportunity to lead discussions and put my own thoughts out there instead of just listening to the people's opinion.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that because I'm not very much of a speaker. I kind of like to sit back and just analyze things and listen. And this has given me that chance to voice my own opinion.
Because I think society, in some ways, it tells you that your opinion does not matter and you're not as important as other people, but you are. And we all have to appreciate that and learn to, just work around it and become a stronger person. And as Americans, I think that's really important. We all have an opinion. We all have a voice. We need to use it.
Yeah, I think that goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier about the thought process, how everyone has a different thought process. So we have to be respectful towards that. Not everyone's going to think the same, so we have to understand that other people do form their own opinions and their own views. And us as individuals, we have to realize that. We have to accept that.
I agree with you all. I think I'm more comfortable now with my own thoughts and decisions. And I'm not afraid to say anything, and I'm more open-minded to others.
Yeah, at the beginning, when I did my prep sheet, I was really nervous of what I would say or stuff like that. But now I'm kind of okay with saying what's on my mind and stuff.
I agree with you guys because now I'm able to speak easier and have more of an open mind while listening to others.
much. We'll move on to the last question. How do we feel you grew in your thinking and learning skills in this class?
I feel like this class has been very challenging and has made me think a lot more about how I actually feel about topics rather than just reading something and then moving on. Sharing my thoughts with others in order to learn has helped me grow tremendously. And I think this is because it has made me realize that sometimes others have a different understanding of what is being discussed, and you can't fully understand something until you look at it from every point.
True, and I thought it was unique that at the beginning of this class we didn't just go straight into English. We started with a metacognitive unit, and by reading texts such as what you should know about your brain, and it was interesting that we should learn about our learning and our mental health, really, and that kind of set the course for our learning and education too.
I agree with that because that's something that like I've never like experienced. Like the teachers never taught us that. Like in any other English class, like it's always just been straight from the syllabus to the lesson. So like I've never just learned about like other than like anatomy, but like even then we don't learn about our sleep habits and like what's healthy for like our brain and all that. Like so it really just made it easier to be like, oh okay, well we need to get better sleep at night. I need to use my phone less. Like it really helped for me to focus into like what we were doing for the rest of the semester.
Back to what you were saying about other classes and like the differences. Like this one, I feel like it's harder for me to adapt to this class because I've never had an English class like this before, and like going off the syllabus and just expanding your areas in different ways. It's always been read this, write that.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been okay. Let's have group discussion. Let's do this, and like let's use this part of the brain. It's hard, but it's good and it helps a lot.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was kind of weird just to walk in and just learn that. But then, right now, I just know I have a deeper appreciation for like literature and everything. Because coming into this class, I thought literature was just hit the books and then write a paper or stuff like that. But now it's just literature is everywhere. It's like it's on social media everywhere, and it kind of helped open my mind.
Any end thoughts to wrap up? Wonderful,
We all just
wonderful.
think that it's very important.
Fantastic job. Outside circle, what did the inside circle do well? Yeah, Nathan had some really smooth word choice there. The content, had a lot of specific content that they talked about. Yeah, deeper content. Yes, and that's the real goal in any discussion, that you build on one another's thoughts, that you come to a deeper collective understanding that may be different than what you had when you went in. Hopefully it will have grown in some way, whether it changed or just got deeper. Hopefully, it was a productive conversation wherever you are and whenever you're in those conversations. So being a part of a good, productive, civil, intelligent discussion makes you good, productive, intelligent citizens and happy people. Okay, great job, guys.